On a crystal clear day with not a cloud in the sky, you can see for miles off the tip of the island. Snow-capped Olympic mountains and views of downtown on the west shore. It's one of the capital region's best-kept secrets. The stunning views equaled only by great walking trails. A must-see if you like to get out and about.
Well, this would have been a gun here.
But Macaulay Point Park in Esquimalt has an exciting history that isn't written on a plaque or in a book, but one that this local historian is eager to share.
And they had rifles for the crew here.
From the 1870s to the 1950s, Macaulay Point was home to an active coastal defense, protecting both Victoria and Esquimalt harbors. Today, what's left of the Coast Artillery Battery is still here. But unless you have a guy like Jack Bates along to give you a tour, you can't really appreciate its history.
Certainly when the militia was training here, things were really picking up, and people could anticipate it, turn of the century in 1910, 11, 12. There was a lot of activity in the militia, building the militia in different regiments.
But some of the old infrastructure dates back to before the turn of the century. This gun emplacement was one of 3 built in the 1890s. Just 2 remain today.
You could walk and feed the shells through here. The disappearing ones, you'd put it in and come up and fire and come down again.
It was guns like these that would have sat here, the artillery shells stored behind these steel doors.
These emplacements were, after they were built, they were used by the militia before the First War. And during the First War, they did a lot of training here. And then, of course, they were heavily manned during the Second War.
Part of the walking path around Macaulay Point is the old road that wagons and vehicles would have used to get around the fortification. A handful of old buildings and workshops dating back to 1894 are also still here. They've been painted over the years and barred up to prevent vandalism.
Artillery stores would have been shells and other equipment that they'd need to maintain the guns, probably, anything like that. As you can see, they're well away from the shoreline and out of an attack, which was their focus when they built them.
So this would have been the center of activity here at Macaulay Point. It's the battery command post, or an observation point. It was built in 1894, and whenever there was any kind of threat prior to or during World War I or World War II, this place would have been manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
They had rangefinders there and there, which would tell you the distance, for the guns.
Okay.
And they had machine gun posts set up.
And to get up to the observation point...
So it's just called an underground passage.
And this would have been built when?
Well, again, 1895, up to the structure that we're going to be coming to.
This tunnel was built to ensure safe and controlled access. From the outside, you can still see the original stonework and where the detailed-minded engineers marked how far they were above sea level. It's all bits and pieces of history that Jack Bates is still collecting for the book he is writing, and hoping one day Macaulay Point will become a National Historic Site.
Personally, I'd like to see it get more attention now. How you gain that, I don't know. You got to have some political will and and obviously some money, some funding comes from somewhere.
And as Esquimalt celebrates its centennial, Jack hopes that his efforts to compile the history of Macaulay Point will be preserved and appreciated for another 100 years. In Esquimalt, I'm Nikki Ewanyshyn.